Om Agyanatimirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaganam Raghunātha Vitam Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha He Krishna Karana Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha-kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasani Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Maybe we could chant a prayer from Arjuna to Krishna in his Virat Rūpa in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna Uvacha Stane Hrishikesha Tava Prakirtya Jagat Prarishyatyanurajyate Cha Rakshangsi Bhitani Disho Dravanti Sarve Namasyanti Chasidhasanga. That was verse 36. The first of his prayers. I don't have the translation here, just the Sanskrit. Stane Rishikesha. Oh, Rishikesha. Stane, in this place. Tava Prakirtya. You are praised by your praise. Jagat. Yeah, I guess that's instrumental. Prakirtya, so by your praise, Jagat Prarishyati, the universe is thrilled. Prishyati. I think that's future tense, pravishyati. The universe will be thrilled. Anurajyateja, I don't know, illuminated. Rakshansi, Bitani, is that the Rakshasas? Bitani, the fear. Dishaha Dravanti, I think I better look this up. The directions, Dravanti, are flowing. I don't know. Sarve namasyanti cha siddha sangaha. So all the siddhas offer obeisance to you. Okay, now I'm curious. I have to look this up. I don't have a regular Gita here, so I have to check here. Library, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11. It's kind of amazing that we can find everything, at least in English language, online of practically everything of Prabhupada's books. Okay, text 36. Rakshangsi. Yeah, the demons. Vitani, out of fear. Dishaha, in all directions. Dravanti. Oh, right. They're running. Okay. Yeah. The demons run in all directions. And Jagat Prahishanti Anurajate is becoming attached. Oh, so from raga, anurajyate, prahishyati, rejoicing. Okay, Prabhupada's translation. Arjuna said, "O master of the senses, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, Rishikesha. And thus everyone becomes attached to you. Anurajyate. Prahishyati anurajyate. Although the perfected beings offer you their respectful homage, the demons are afraid and they flee here and there. Here and there, Disha. All this is rightly done. Prabhupada adds a kind of purport in his translation. All this is rightly done. No, he's not adding. He's translating stane as rightly. Okay. I'd have to see commentaries to see why that is. Or we'd have to look at the dictionary, but I don't think I'll do that just now. Instead, what shall we do? Let's have a song from Srila Narottama Das Thakura ki jai. Before we go to today's song, last week, reviewing briefly, whoops, that's not it. Where did it go? We may remember it was Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Jaya Radhe Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Jaya Jaya Radhe. I think that's how it went. So that was fun. Oh, I saved the wrong one. Okay. No matter. We can go back to the one that we did the week before, or 2 weeks before that. Gauranga bolite hame hulaka sharir hari hari bolite noyone bavenir. So this is this expression of longing, lala samayi. When will that opportune moment come to us when there will be shivering of the body as soon as we chant Lord Gauranga's name? While chanting Hare Krishna, when will there be tears in the eyes? Yeah. And also remembering Nityananda, this world will become tucha, will become insignificant. Vishaya charya, having given up sense gratification, kabe shuddha habe mana, kabe hamo herabo, Sri Vrindavan. When will I see Vrindavan? Having my mind purified from all this shuddha habe mana, from all this material clutter, we might say. And then the eagerness to study the Goswami's books, Rūpa raghunātha pade hoive ākuti. Well, that's something I wanted to look up, ākut, whether that's something in Sanskrit. Ākut. Oh, we did look this up, didn't we? Intention, chitti. Okay. Hoive akuti, then kabe ham him bujhinu. Bujhinu, I will understand, I will comprehend. What will I comprehend? Yugala piriti, the love of the divine couple. And then Rūpa raghunātha pade rahu more asha. Keeping my hope, asha, at the feet of Rūpa and Raghunātha. Prarthana koraye sada Narottama Dasa. Sada, not just now and then, but always. Prarthana, he offers prarthana in this way. He expresses prarthana in this way. Okay, then today's song, which is, what is it? Dainya Bodhika, song number 1. Bodhika is awakening, and Dainya is humility, patience kind of thing, Dainya. Whoops, maybe we should look that up too. Let's see if that's Sanskrit. Is it I think it's with an H. Nope. Okay, try it without an H. Dainya. There. Oh, wretchedness, affliction, depression, miserable state, meanness, covetousness. Prabhupada gives humbleness and humility also. Okay. Then, yeah. Okay. Hari Hari, ki more Karama ati Manda. Oh, yes. This is going to be a sad song. Vraje rādhā-kr pada na bhajinu tila ādha na bujhinu rāgera sambandha. Oh, Lord Hari, how wicked I am. Okay, how wicked I am. I did not worship the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna in Brajabhumi. Even for half a moment. And I am completely unable to understand the mellows of transcendental love. Tila, as far as I know, means a sesame seed. and ādha is half. So ādha, a half of a sesame seed. In other words, very, very, very small. Na bhajinu tila ādha. So bhajinu, I did not worship tila ādha, not even for half of as moment. That's, yeah, not even for half of a sesame seed. Na bujhinu, so na bhajinu, na bujhinu. I didn't worship and I didn't understand. What I didn't understand, rāgera, sambandha, relationship, sambandha, of raga, of attachment, the mellows of transcendental love. Okay, svarūpa, sanātana, rūpa, raghunātha, bhat, bhūgarbha, Sri jīva lokanato. We had this last week here in Oxford. One scholar, he's been here for some weeks, I think. Tony Stewart. He's been studying Gaudiya Vaishnavism for however many years, 30, 40, 50 years. Very nice person, not a Vaishnava himself. For him, it's all just fascinating scholarship. But he gave a talk, and I noticed his pronunciation of Bengali was with a very, we would say, dark, short A's. So, svarūpa and sanātana, rūpa, raghunātha, raghunātha, bhat, yuga. Iha shaber pado, padma, they drop the M and make it a double D, padda. Na sevino tila ādha. And there we go again, tila ādha. Ara kise puribek sadho. Even for half a moment, I did not worship the lotus feet of Srila Svarūpa Damodar Goswami, Srila Sanātana Goswami, Srila Rūpa Goswami, Srila Raghunātha Das Goswami, Srila Raghunātha Bhatta Goswami, Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Srila bhūgarbha Goswami, Srila Jīva Goswami, and Srila raghunātha Goswami. Sorry, Lokanath Goswami. How will it be possible for me to attain my desire? So we get a rhetorical question at the end. Ara kise puribek sadho. Kise is the question word, how? And in Hindi, modern Hindi, kaise would be the word, how? Tum kaise ho, ap kaise hain. Puribek, like purna, I guess, fulfilling, and that must be a future tense. Puribek sadha. Sadha, okay. Desire. Okay, Iha Shovar Padapadna, all of their lotus feet. And Iha in Sanskrit, I learned this last week, is a locative of time or a locative of place. So it can indicate when, or it can indicate where. So in this case, I guess it's more when. Then, verse 3, Krishna Dasa Kaviraj Roshika Bokotamaj Jehong Koil Chaitanya Charita Gora Govindalila Shunite Goloye Shila Tahate Nahoilo Mora Chitto. Among the devotees, Krishnadas Kaviraj is extremely expert at relishing the transcendental nectar of the mellows of love of God. Krishnadas Kaviraj Rasika Bhakta. Maj is like absorbed, I think, like being underwater. But I think it's from madhya, which is being in the middle. Jehon Koilo Chaitanya Charita. So when the stones hear his Chaitanya Charitamrita and Govinda Lilamrita, they begin to melt in ecstasy. Jehon, I think, would be sort of when. Gora Govinda Lila Shunite Golaye Shila. Shila is stone. And Shunite, when hearing. Golaye, I guess, is sort of softening and melting. Tahate nahoilo mor chitta. In spite of this, I have no appreciation in my heart. Tahate is sort of from that, or because of that, or despite that in this case. Nahoilo did not happen. Mora chitta. My mind, my consciousness did not happen. Hoilo. My mind didn't become attracted, rasika, didn't become a rasika. And the last verse, Shesha Bhakata Sanga Je Korilo Taro Shango. Taro Shange Kene Nohilo Bahasa. Ki Mor Duker Kota Janama Gawainu Bruta Dik Narottama Dasa. Furthermore, I refuse even to associate with the friends and companions of these great souls. Sesham Bhakata Sanga Je Korilo Tar Sanga Taro Shange Keni no Hilo Vas. Okay. How sad is my tale. Ki mor dukker kota. Kota is a tale, a story. And what kind of story? A dukker, a story of dukkha, of misery. So again, it's rhetorical. Ki mor. What is my miserable story? Janama goenu vrita. I have spent my life uselessly. Vrita means like a waste. Let's see, that's another word that looks Sanskritic. Let's see. Vrita. Yes, prita, in vain, vainly, uselessly, fruitlessly, wrongly, falsely, incorrectly, unduly. Okay. So then, Dik. Narottama is cursing himself. Shame, shame. Fie. In English, this word fie, it's a kind of archaic English, but it's like shame. Narottama is feeling very ashamed. Is he really feeling ashamed? We may wonder. Well, we should not think that he's just making it up. He must be actually feeling this. And of course, at the same time, he's benefiting us and suggesting we should perhaps also feel such shame. Okay, so again, I don't have a harmonium, but I do have a mridanga. So it's going to be, oh, I have to back. Let's see now. Oh, how's that? Okay. That. Okay, like this. Oh, right. I think I'm organized now. Here we go. If we had something like actual simultaneous hearing, then one of you could be playing harmonium. And of course, then we could all hear each other singing. But alas, that technology is not there as yet. Maybe someday. Hari Hari Ki Mora Karama Manda. Hari Hari Ki Mora Karama Manda. Vraje rādhā. How would this go? Vraje rādhā krishna pada na bhajinu tila ādha. Vraje rādhā krishna pada na bhajinu tila ādha. Na bujhinu rāgera sambandha. Na bhujhinu rāgera sambandha. Svarūpa sanātana rūpa raghunātha bhat yuga bhūgarbha and svarūpa sanātana rūpa raghunātha bhat yuga bhūgarbha jīva raghunātha bhūgarbha jīva raghunātha. Iha shobha pada padma na sevinu tila ādha. Arokise uribek sada. Iha shobha pada padma nase vinu tila ādha arakise puribe sada Krishna Dasa Aviraj Rasika Bhakata Macha Krishna Dasa Aviraj Rasika Bhakata Macha Jehon Koilo Chaitanya Charita Jehon Koilo Chaitanya Charita Gora Go Vindalila Shunite Goloye Shila Gora Govinda Lila Shunite Goloye Shila Ahate Nahoilo Mora Chitta Tahate Nahoilo Mora Chitta Sheshava Bhakata Sanga Jekorilo Hara Sanga Sheshava Bhakata Sanga Jekorilo Tara Sanga Hara Sange Hene Nahilo Basa Tara Sange Eno Nahilo Basa let's see. Mora dukera kata janama bhajinu vrita. Mora dukera kata janama bhajinu vrita. Dik dik Narottama Dasa. Dik Narottama Dasa. Shesha Bhakata Sanga Jekori Lotara Sanga. Shesha Bhakata Sanga Jekori Lotara Sanga. Tara Sange Kenena. Tar Sange, how is it? Tar Sange Kenena Hilo Basa. Tar Sange Kenena Hilo Basa. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Ram Hare Bo,
Hare Bo, Oh, Hare Bo,
Hare
Hare
Bo, Gora Hare Bo, Nitai Go, Hare Bo,
Hare Bo, Hare Bo, Hare Bo,
Gora Hare Bo,
Hare Bo. Các cùng sao? Cô也没听了。
So, Srila Narottama Das Thakura ki jai. So, Hare Krishna, thank you all again for coming. Greetings from Where am I? Oh, I'm in Oxford, sort of, not exactly Oxford. Wheatley, which is a kind of suburb of Oxford. And it is, what's the date today? June the 3rd, and it's the year 2023. And what else can we say? Anyone have a birthday today? Any birthdays? Any significant things happening today for anyone? Something. It's the first day of the rest of your life. Did you know that? Today is the first day of the rest of your life. Think about that for a moment. Oh, I see now there's a new thing here in Zoom. It's called Set Up Professional Audio in Audio Settings. So that's something to know. Test speaker, test mic. Background noise suppression. Original sound for musicians. I think that's the one we wanted. We should have clicked. But I don't know what happens if we click it now.
We have it on, Guru Maharaj. The professional original sound for musicians is on.
Oh, it was anyway on?
Yes, yes, but I think it should be on your side as well. But as
now it's on my side as well. As I clicked it. Okay. Good. Okay, let's see. I'm just noticing, is that Tamal that I see? Tamal, is that you? Are you in London?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Yes,
Hare Krishna.
I'm in London.
You're in London. Okay. So we may be seeing you next weekend.
Yes, I'll be coming next weekend. Yeah.
Okay. Next weekend is, next Saturday is a big Harinam, I think two, one in the afternoon, one in the evening in London. And I don't know yet what time I'm arriving there. And therefore, I also don't know whether we will have a Saturday Sanga tomorrow, next Saturday, but that we can see.
Yeah, I'll definitely come to the event on next weekend. So.
Yes, okay. We say in English, be there or be square.
Yes.
Do you say that something like that in Spanish, Dainya? No. Okay. I wondered because in Spanish there's this expression cuadrado, meaning like a square person, someone who doesn't know how to think outside the box. Okay. All right, good. Some messages here. What's all of this? Ramananda Gopal will be 50 tomorrow. Really? Wow. Is he with us now? Ramananda Gopal, are you there?
I can't see him. I can't see him going. I think he's not here.
Okay. Well, we can all mentally wish him a happy birthday. Okay. So then, let's that, and let's move that. Okay. So what is our topic? What is our program today? I don't have any big plans myself. We started last time to read some cosmography, some Bhagavata cosmography. We didn't get very far. We could just proceed with that, but there is a question in the air from Odarya Janani. Are you there, Odarya Janani? She was here. She was here. It's hard to answer someone's question when that person is not present. So if you notice her, if anyone notices her, let me know and we can answer her question, which she said should be also possibly of interest to others. But I'll wait until she's there. Of course, I could speak about it and maybe she sees the recording, hears the recording later. We'll see. Okay, anyone have any show and tell for us? Any news? Any nice insights to share? Insights. No insights. I bet there's been a lot of insights, but everyone is a little shy. Maybe, let's see, should I pick on someone? Oh, now everyone becomes worried. Vrindapati, do you have any insights from this last week?
A lot, but I'll end up taking too much time.
A lot. How about one of those?
I was just reading a debate among some devotees from different Vaishnava sampradayas. They're on this forum, and there is a huge debate about whether Krishna is an incarnation of Vishnu or Vishnu is an incarnation of Krishna. So I was just reading through that, and I was just making a small response to the group saying that, well, Vishnu is eternal and Krishna is eternal. And it's like arguing who came first, the chicken or the egg, kind of thing. And, I'm trying to, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas have tried to present that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead based on Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says that, one should surrender unto me. And since he is, in the form of Krishna there, that is the highest form. That's one argument.
Yeah.
And I also came to know that the Nimbarka Sampradaya actually predates Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And also another Sampradaya known as the Maha-Anubhav Sampradaya also predates the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. So the idea of Krishna being the supreme personality of Godhead, the origin of even Vishnu, is actually a lot older than Gaudiya Vaishnavism. And so that was one kind of discovery, I guess, that I made. But then at the same time, without hurting anybody's personal relationship with Vishnu or Krishna, I kind of just was toying with the idea that the Brahman is a great mystery. And beyond Brahman, what happens there is really not measurable by the human intelligence or even explicable, even by Shastra. I think it's inexplicable. And so my personal kind of, in one sense, response was going to be something like that. Since we don't know what is beyond the great beyond, that there is a place where the eternal person, the eternal Godhead, resides, because even this word Vaikuntha is a kind of, in other words, historically speaking, is a new term. It's not, the ancient Shastras don't really talk about Vaikuntha, even though when we read the Veda, we read Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Suraya. We read this Shastric verse. But it's not called Vaikuntha in the Shastras until much later. Yeah. And Goloka also is a... So all I was kind of, just to wrap up here in one sense, is that the more that relationship becomes more deeper and personal, it relies on revelation to reveal that connection and place where somebody has to return to spiritually. And if that's a Vaikuntha for somebody, then be it Vaikuntha, and if it's Goloka Vrindavan, then it will be Goloka Vrindavan. But the great personality of Godhead has to reciprocate with the individual's bhava and emotions. And then therefore that bhava and emotion will take the highest place in its highest expression for that devotee. I don't know, does that make sense? I don't even know if it makes sense as what I'm trying to say here, but...
Yeah, also, of course, for the devotees of Krishna who are with Krishna in Goloka, in Vrindavan, their relation with Krishna is such that the idea of him being God, whether he's the original form or not, is it's not relevant.
Yeah.
It's not at all. It's sort of, is he the original form? It's almost like they would be saying, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's
a form that we love.
Yeah.
It's a form that we love, and therefore that bhava will be at its highest expression there, and therefore there's nothing higher than that for that person who's in love.
And I don't think they would even be saying this is the form that we love, because that's already a kind of an abstraction.
Yes. So they should say, this is who we love, and this is who we know.
Yeah, this is who we love, this is who we know. Also, about the term Vaikuntha, I don't know where it first appears, but of course it's just an expression of what is not. It's Vaikuntha, it's a place without. Of course, it's one of the names, at least Vaikuntha, maybe also Vaikuntha, is one of the names of Vishnu in the Vishnu Sahasrana. Isn't it? Vaikuntha.
I do know the Vishnu Sahasranamam, but I can't recall where it is mentioned that he is Vaikuntha.
Oh, I thought it was there. Okay.
It may be there. I don't know. I can do a quick search at some.
Anyway.
Find it.
And another point about Vaikuntha or Goloka, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, at least in one place, says Goloka is part of Vaikuntha. It's not either or. It's just that realm which is beyond this world.
I have a joke with my friend that because one of my friends is a Sri Vaishnava, and he's like, well, everybody has to go to to the abode of Vishnu, and I'm like, okay, well, there's this river which is known as the Viraja, and when I'm filling water from one side, you can come at the same time, and we'll wave across the river.
Yeah.
Each other.
There's a river in Odisha in North India called Viraja. We visited there. We had this parikrama some years ago, and we stopped at the river Viraja, and it was said, if you swim across, and so some of the devotees actually swam across and swam back. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That was my small musings for the day.
Okay, thank you. That's very nice. Nice musing. Oh, let's see. We have something from Sinisha. The goddess of fortune enjoys the company of Sri Krishna through the gopis. One should not see any distinction between the forms of the Lord, for to think so is an offense. I can now understand that devotional service to Krishna is the highest form of worship. Out of your causeless mercy, you have made my life successful simply by explaining these facts. Thank you. That's nice. You quoted. That's from Madhya Lila 9161. Who would be speaking that? That's not Ramananda Roy. So I don't remember who that would be. But that's nice. I'm just also thinking on that subject. Probably if we were in proximity of Srila Jiva Goswami with this conversation, he might even pound his fist on the table and say, Ete changsa kalapungsa, Krishna's too, Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the original form. There are so many forms, angsa and kala, but Krishna is the original. And I'm sure the Shri Vaishnavas would come back and say, well, yes, but that's just what it says in the Bhagavatam. And we don't follow the Bhagavatam, we follow the Vishnu Purana, right? And then Jiva Goswami would come back and say, no, this is your mistake. You're following Vishnu Purana, you should be following the Bhagavata Purana, and this is why. And then he would give us the whole Tattva Sandarbha to explain why we should follow we should accept the Srimad Bhagavatam as the essence, as the best. Yeah, that could be an interesting little sort of theological drama. You could write up as you could imagine a conversation between, Jiva Goswami and maybe Vedanta Deshika, Venkatanatha, something like that. You could make that could be interesting. You could quote from, then you could quote from Chaitanya Charitamrita. You could do all kinds of things. Okay, Sinisha is pointing out that the Shri Vaishnavas say prapatti is, or sharanagati is higher than bhakti, yes. They do say that. But they also say that this is what you do when you cannot do bhakti. So it becomes something like a substitute. But our Gopinath Acharya Prabhu here in Oxford was discussing this just a few days ago. And he said, when you kind of look closely at the descriptions of prapatti, it kind of ends up just being, again, bhakti, because the things that you do after you've declared yourself surrendered end up being the same sort of activities that you do when you perform bhakti according to their system. Okay. He is also Shri Sampradaya, yes. Okay, then we have a comment from, or a question, let's see, from our mysterious Bhakti Sanga, Avaduta Rai, the Supreme Self. Oh, he's quoting Katha Upanishad. The Supreme Self can never be known by any amount of argument, reasoning, intelligence, or by much hearing. To those whom he chooses, however, he may reveal his personal form. Yes, there is that verse. Explain na, ba. I think there's a misspelling there. Bahu. I don't remember what it is, but bhava, bahu, shrutena. Oh, na bahu shrutena. Literally by much hearing, by lots of hearing. The emphasis in that quote is on divine grace, you could say. No matter how much effort you may put into even the practices of bhakti, ultimately, the bottom line is it's going to depend on the Lord. And we may want to say, therefore, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakura would say, essentially, it's not about seeing the Lord, it's about being seen by the Lord. So we serve and we serve and we serve. And we are serving the Lord whether we see or however we see, however he may reveal himself. But I think an interesting subject is, or issue comes, so taking this verse from the Katha Upanishad, to those whom he chooses, he may reveal his personal form. He can reveal his personal form in all different forms, right? And that's in the Bhagavatam. There's that verse, Tvam Bhakti Yoga, Paribhavita Hritsaroja Ase, Shrutek-kshetra Pato Nanunata Pungsaha, Tatatiya Ta Urugaya Vibhavayanti, Yat Yat Diya Ta Urugaya Vibhavayanti, Tat Vapu Pranayase Sadanugrahaya. The Lord reveals himself to the one who is practicing bhakti yoga and who is hearing about the Lord. And by hearing, the Lord appears on the lotus of that devotee's heart. And how does he appear? He appears yat yat diya, according to the intelligence, you can say, but in this case, maybe more like disposition. Yat yat diya ta urugaya. O urugaya, O Lord, urugaya. Vibhavayanti, you appear. They appear, these forms appear. Tat tat vapu, that form, that vapu, that body, or those body. Tat tat, that way, that way. Pranayase sat anugrahaya, by your mercy, pranayase, you, by their inclination, I think it means something like that. So In other words, different devotees will have different experience of the Lord, and they will have a different experience, therefore, of who is the original form of the Lord. So that seems to be the. So is one might then want to ask: is there such a thing as one original, absolutely original, primordial form of the Lord? And to that, I think we could only say that we understand through Guru. I was just listening to a lecture from Prabhupada where Prabhupada is always speaking so forcefully. And in this lecture, he was speaking, I think he was speaking to an Indian audience in India. And so he was being especially forceful to say that you cannot understand without surrender to the Guru. And then, of course, the example he gives is Arjuna. Arjuna surrenders to Krishna, and therefore he understands. And so, for us who take shelter of Srila Prabhupada, and he takes, his Guru Parampara, going back to Lord Chaitanya, for whom the Brahma Samhita was extremely authoritative. And so there we get the verse, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachit Ananda Vigraha, Anad Iradi Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam, cause of all causes. And so we kind of, that's where we conclude. Otherwise, yes, the debates will go on what to do. And Prabhupada would say, actually, it's not, there's no need to argue. If someone says Vishnu is the original form of the Lord, that's okay. Oh, Krishna Ragini is pointing out in chapter 11 of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna turns from the universal form to the four-armed form, and after to the two-armed form. Prabhupada comments saying this is a proof that the form of Krishna is original. I can just hear the Sri Vaishnavas say exactly the opposite. This is a proof that the four-armed form of the Lord is original. And so it goes. I think the Lord makes these arrangements just to have, just to get the devotees to discuss and think about this amongst themselves. In other words, it's Krishna's trick or it's Vishnu's trick to get us all thinking about this. Queen Kunti says like that, the Lord appears, one of the reasons the Lord appears is so that the devotees have something to talk about. And so one thing devotees can talk about is, who is the original? Is it Krishna or is it Vishnu? Or is it Vishnu? And then the Shaivites will come and say, no, you all got it wrong. It's Lord Shiva. And then the Vaishnavas will say, no, you got it wrong. You're thinking that in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, when it mentions Shiva and even Rudra, you're thinking that's Shiva or Rudra, but actually those are names of Vishnu, right? And so it goes. Okay, should I pick on someone else? Tia, you're nodding. Does that mean you have something you wanted to say?
I just wanted you to pick on someone else.
But you nodded.
Yeah, I guess I do have a little thing I could share. I
Okay.
was looking for the YouTube video, but it got taken down. But I went to church with Banu last Sunday, and it was really nice because, and we were all a little bit emotional because like we went to the Brooklyn Tabernacle and they have a Grammy award-winning like choir, and it was just like really beautiful songs. And there was one song that just like kept going over, like repeating that, like, you know, Jesus is like, you know, the name of all names, and like there is no other name. And it was beautiful to see, like, I don't know, bhakti in different forms. And that was all I wanted to say. If I had a YouTube video, I would have shared my screen and showed it, but it got taken down.
So Brooklyn Tabernacle Choir.
Yes.
And which church is that?
Yeah, it's a non-denominational Christian church. It's just called the Brooklyn Tabernacle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the sermon was really good too. It was like, I think there was a lot of good application, even for people who don't consider themselves Christian. It was just about, you know, we can go to church or we can go to Sunday program every Sunday, but if we're not like living what we teach or living what we hear, then are we really pushing ourselves, you know, to be the best Christian or, you know, Vaishnava we can be? So if there's a decision we have to make like Monday through Saturday, and we're not thinking about, like, in this case, Jesus and the Bible and what we learn in during Sunday lecture, then like, you know, are we truly like Christian? And like, we need to push, and then God permits, right? So it's like we push ourselves, and since we can't do it alone, it's like, then we need mercy from the Lord, who like can permit us to progress in our spiritual path. But there is that relationship between pushing and then permitting. So
nice. Very good.
Yeah.
Nice. Good. Thank you. So going to church.
Yeah. Found Krishna at church. It was pretty cool.
even there.
Yeah. Krishna goes to church.
Yes. Okay. Good. All right. Well, maybe we should just now proceed and do some fifth canto reading. Anyone object? We don't want to impose anything on anyone. Okay, first I have to find where we were. Oh, I think I already found it. Yeah, we really did not get very far. Okay. So then share screen. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Deving Saraswating Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashta Prayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Oh yes, this is where Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes from the Vayu Purana, and then we get the Sanskrit transliterated without a translation. But he's just giving locations of various mountains, and So maybe we won't linger with that just now. Now we can move on to verse number 7. Esham madhye ilavritam nama abhyantaravarsham yasya nabhyam avastita sarvata sovarna, golden, sovarna kulagiri rajo merur dvipayam samunnaha karnika bhuta kuvalaya kamalasya murdhani dva tringshat sahasra yojana vitato mule shodasha sahasram tavat antar yang pravishtaha. Okay, then we're going to get description of Mount Sumeru. Amidst these divisions, or varshas, so there were 9 varshas, is the varsha named Ilavrita, which is situated in the middle of the whorl of the lotus. Within Ilavrita varsha is Sumeru mountain, which is made of gold. Sumeru mountain is like the pericarp of the lotus-like Bhumandala planetary system. The mountain's height, okay, now with numbers. The mountain's height is the same as the width of Jambudvip, or in other words, 100,000 yojanas, 800,000 miles. Of that, 16,000 yojanas, 128,000 miles are within the earth, and therefore the mountain's height above the earth is 84,000 yojanas, 672,000 miles. The mountain's width is 32,000 yojanas, 256,000 miles at its summit, and 16,000 yojanas at its base. Now, obviously that means it's wider at the top than at the bottom. And that is one very special mountain. So you'll see pictures of this. There have been many, many drawings, attempts to express in graphic terms what all this would look like. And typically these, they will make something shaped like this to describe Sumeru mountain. All right. Okay, then more mountains. Let's see, we have north of Ilavrita. Oh, I was going to look up the word Ilavrita. We can do that right here. Ilavrita. Oops. Ilavrita. Name of a son of Agnitra. Okay. One of the 9 varshas or divisions of the known world. The known world, comprehending the highest and most central part of the old continent. See varsha. And then it's Prabhupada's translations. Yeah, that's all it says, Ilavrita. Avrita usually means covered, I think. Yeah, covered, concealed, screened, enclosed, encompassed, surrounded. Invested, involved, spread, overcast, filled with, abounding with, a man with mixed origin. Okay. Anyway, covered. is kind of the general notion. All right, ilavrita. Yeah, ila, avrita. I don't think we'll find anything for ila, but we could try. Ila. Oh, there is something. Below. Covered below. Doesn't tell us very much. Okay. Just north of Ilavrita and going further northward, one after another, are three mountains named Nila, Shveta, and Shringavan. These mark the borders of the three varshas named Ramyaka, Hiranmaya, and Kuru, and separate them from one another. The width of these mountains is 2,000 yojana, 16,000 miles. Lengthwise, they extend east and west to the beaches of the ocean of salt water, going from south to north. The length of each mountain is 1/10 that of the previous mountain, but the height of them all is the same. Okay. And then we get a quote from Madhvacharya. And then Prabhupada just summarizes, he says, it appears from these verses that aside from the sun and moon, there is an invisible planet called Rahu. The movements of Rahu cause both solar and lunar eclipses. We suggest that the modern expeditions attempting to reach the moon are mistakenly going to Rahu. Notice Prabhupada says we suggest. He's not saying this is absolute truth, but he's saying this could be what's happening. If that's the case, then what a mistake they're making, huh? All the astronomers who are making the program to go to the moon. I read, where did I read? I read that because we sometimes want to say that the idea of landing on the moon is a conspiracy. One thing that would make a conspiracy difficult, or that makes, any conspiracy, conspiracy depends on secrecy. And anyway, it's been mentioned that there were something like 500,000 people interconnected, involved with the moon landing, I guess the specific moon landing that Prabhupada would have seen in 1969. Yeah, so it would involve keeping a secret from 500,000 people. I mean, to say it would be, it would be 500,000 people involved in the secret, one way or another. So are they going to keep that a secret from the rest of the world? Evam dakshinene elavritam. Okay, it's going to talk about the south side. Nishadaha hemakuto Himalaya iti. Prag ayata yata niladaya. Ayuta yojana utsedha harivarsha kim purusha bharatana yata sankyam. Similarly, south of Ilavrita and extending from east to west are three great mountains named from north to south, Nishada, Hemakuta, and Himalaya. Each of them is 10,000 yojanas, 80,000 miles high. They mark the boundaries. They mark the boundaries of the three varshas named Harivarsha, Kimpurusha Varsha, and Bharata Varsha, India. How tall was Sumeru again? How many yojanas was it? 100,000. It was 100,000 yojanas, of which 84,000 is above the earth. Yeah. Okay. And then, in the same way, west and east of Ilavrita-varsha are two great mountains named Malyavan and Gandhamadana, respectively. These two mountains, which are 2,000 yojanas high, extend as far as Nila Mountain in the north and Nishada in the south. They indicate the borders of Ilavrita-varsha and also the varshas known as Ketumala and Bhadrashva. Okay. Now, some Prabhupada's explanation. There are so many mountains, even on this planet Earth. We do not think that the measurements of all of them have actually been calculated. Okay. While passing over the mountainous region from Mexico to Caracas, we actually saw so many mountains that we doubt whether their height, length, and breadth have been properly measured. Therefore, as indicated in Srimad Bhagavatam by Shukadeva Goswami, we should not try to comprehend the greater mountainous areas of the universe merely by our calculations. Shukadeva Goswami has already stated that such calculations would be very difficult even if one had a duration of life like that of Brahma. We should simply be satisfied with the statements of authorities like Shukadeva Goswami and appreciate how the entire cosmic manifestation has been made possible by the external energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's kind of it's interesting because all this effort is being made to, understand these descriptions. And here Prabhupada says, in a sense, don't try to understand, just be satisfied by hearing about it. The measurements given herein, such as 10,000 yojanas or 100,000 yojanas, should be considered correct. Why? Because they've been given by Shukadeva Goswami. Our experimental knowledge can neither verify nor disprove the statements of Srimad Bhagavatam. We should simply hear these statements from the authorities. If we can appreciate the extensive energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that will benefit us. Yeah. Yeah, one of the ideas in modern science or philosophy of science is that to be science, something has to be what they call falsifiable, which is to say, you make a claim that such and such is the case. There needs to be some way, at least in theory, and I don't know how far, it should be possible to verify that claim or to falsify it. So here Prabhupada is saying you can't verify it and you can't falsify it. So modern scientists would say, well, then it's not science. But Srila Prabhupada will, of course, very vigorously say, this is science. But what is the sort of science? It's a different kind of science. But it's difficult to defend this kind of science for those who consider modern science and its methods to be the only way of knowing. Basically, this is it's sort of a closed system, which says you can only know things which are verifiable or falsifiable by the senses, essentially. And our tradition says, no, there are things you can know when just by someone telling you, shabda, the word shabda means word, but shabda brahman, shabda pramana has the idea, sometimes it's translated as testimony. So if someone else sees something happen, like in a court, in a legal court, they call witnesses for testimony. And if the witness is considered reliable, then their testimony is considered reliable. So Shabda Pramana, we take that as significant, as important. But the measurements here naturally make us wonder. But maybe that's the point, is to simply wonder. Okay, then we get 4 more mountains. On the 4 sides of the great mountain known as Sumeru are 4 mountains: Mandara, Meru Mandara, Suparshva, and Kumuda, which are like its belts. The length and height of these mountains are calculated to be 10,000 yojanas. Oh, now it gets lots of fun. Yes, now we're going to get these special trees standing like flagstaffs on the summits of these 4 mountains. Are a mango tree, a rose apple tree, a kadamba tree, and a banyan tree. Those trees are calculated to have a width of 100 yojanas and a height of 1,100 yojanas. Their branches also spread to a radius of 1,100 yojanas. So that would mean that the width, the 100 yojanas, would be what? The width of the trunk of the tree? Must be, because the branches are extending out more than 10 times as much. Or, yeah, they're extending 10 times as much, and then you include, I guess, include the 100, it becomes 1,100. Okay, and then there's going to be lakes. Oh, yes. Famously or infamously. Oh, Maharaj Parikshit, best of the Bharata dynasty. Between these 4 mountains are 4 huge lakes. The water of the first tastes just like milk, the water of the second like honey, and that of the third like sugarcane juice. The 4th lake is filled with pure water. The celestial beings such as the Siddhas, Charanas, and Gandharvas, also known as demigods, enjoy the facilities of these 4 legs. Consequently, they have the natural perfections of mystic yoga, such as the power to become smaller than the smallest or greater than the greatest. There are also 4 celestial gardens named Nandana Chaitrarata, Vaibrajaka, and Sarvatobhadra. Okay, well, this reminds me of something, and I'm just going to go get one book from my other side of the room here. I'll be right back. The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. This is, there's so many editions of the Yoga Sutras. This is a new translation and study guide by Nicholas Sutton. And Nick Sutton is one of the people involved in our center here. And he has created a course, an online course on the Yoga Sutras, and this is the study guide for that course. So, oh, it's right here. So I was just reading some of it, and in the Vibhuti Pada, in the 3rd Pada, the 3rd of four chapters of the Yoga Sutras, is where we have all these descriptions of meditations, specific sorts of meditations, samyama, or samyama, and the results. And the results are generally some sort of mystic power. And since this is indicating that these residents, these devas, are yoga aishvaryani. They have perfections of mystic yoga. So it says here, this is sutra number 24 to start with. By samyama on the power of an elephant and other animals, one acquires their strength. Baleshu hasti baladini. Baladini. That's the whole sutra. Baleshu hasti baladini. And then the next sutra, pravritya lokanyasat sukshma vyavahita viprakrishta jnanam. By utilizing the illumination of one's practice, one acquires knowledge of things that are subtle, concealed, and far away. By utilizing the illumination of one's practice. But here, this is the one I was thinking, the next one and the one after. Bhuvanajnanam surye samyamat. Knowledge of different worlds is acquired through samyama on the sun. So it's saying if you meditate on the sun in this way that the Yoga Sutra prescribes, samyama just means very focused meditation. then you'll get a result. And what is the result of meditating on the sun? You will have knowledge of different worlds. Bhuvana jnanam. Now, it doesn't give us any details about that. It just, that's the whole thing. You may say, yeah, but okay, but what does that mean that you have knowledge of other worlds? No, that you'll find out after you perfect this particular practice. And similarly, that was verse Sutra 26, Sutra 27, Chandre Tara Vyuha Jnanam. Samyama on the moon brings knowledge of the position of the stars. So what does that mean? Well, we can only find out apparently by doing what it says, doing the meditations. But I find this intriguing because what it seems to be saying is, if you really want to understand what's being described in these chapters, 5th Canto, cosmography, you need to do the work of the proper meditation. Which means it's going to be a matter of revelation. It's not going to be a matter of just analyzing and going out and measuring and so on. But that is a bit different from what Srila Prabhupada is saying. Prabhupada is saying, let's just accept what Shukadeva Goswami says. That becomes, in effect, our knowledge. So if somebody asks you, how tall is Mount Meru? You know how tall Mount Meru is. Why? Because Shukadeva Goswami tells it, and so on. So what do we have now? We have these 4 mountains, each with a tree, which stands at the top of the mountain and spreads its branches out. And there are 4 different types of trees. One was a mango tree. One was a kadamba tree. Oh, I have to go back more. Yes, a banyan tree and a rose apple tree. What's the Sanskrit of a rose apple? Chuta jambu, I think. Jambu is rose apple. I don't know what a rose apple tree looks like. That's something for our gardener experts to tell us. Is it an apple tree, or is it a rose tree, or is it a rose apple tree? Okay, the best of the demigods, along with their wives, who are like ornaments of heavenly beauty, meet together and enjoy within those gardens, while their glories are sung by lesser demigods known as Gandharvas. Utapataya, the husbands. Amara Parivridha, the best of the demigods. Sura Lalana, the wives of all the demigods and semi-demigods. So I think I mentioned last time, it seems to me one of Srila Prabhupada's basic messages when he's talking about the universe is that it is full of living entities. There are beings everywhere. Okay, now more trees. Is this the same mango tree? On the lower slopes of Manda mountain is a mango tree named Devachyuta. No, it must be a different mango tree. It is 1,100 yojanas high. Mangoes as big as mountain peaks and as sweet as nectar fall from the top of this tree for the enjoyment of the denizens of heaven. I would think one has to really, if one is under that tree, be very careful, because if one of those mangoes falls on you, since they're as big as mountain peaks, that could be, you could be smashed by a mango. And then we get a quote without any commentary or translation. Aratninam shatanyashta ashtav ekashashti adhikanicha hala pramanam akyatam rishibihi tattvadarshibhi. So by the rishis who are tattvadarshi, who see things as they are, akyatam is told, the pala pramanam, the fruit evidence, I guess. Aratninam shatani. So hundreds, ashtav, 800s of aratnis. What is an aratni? Ekashashti, 1 times 6 or 60. Adhikani, more than. Okay, that's as far as I can translate that. It's technical. When all those solid fruits fall from such a height, they break. How far a height? So from the top of the mount of the tree, 1,100 yojanas tall. Yeah, that's going to come down pretty hard. They break, and the sweet, fragrant juice within them flows out, becomes increasingly more fragrant as it mixes with other scents. That juice cascades from the mountain in waterfalls and becomes a river called Arunodha, which flows pleasantly through the eastern side of Ilavrita. So, okay, mango juice is flowing and cascading. You know the word cascade? To cascade is to flow in steps down, and to do so in a fast way. So instead of white water rafting, you could do mango juice rafting. Hare Krishna. All right, what else is happening here? Yat upajoshanat bhavanya anucharinam punya janavadunam. Avayava sparsha sugandhavato dasha yojanam samantat anuvasayati. So the verb is at the end, anuvasayati, and it's a causative. Causative, makes fragrant. Samantat, all around. The pious wives of the yakshas. That's the punya jana vaduna. act as personal maidservants to assist Bhavani. Bhavanya means with Bhavani. No, doesn't mean with, it means of. Right, it's Bhavanya. So Bhavani is the wife of Shiva. Because they drink the water of the river Arunodha. There's no Arunodha mentioned here. Must be in a commentary. Their bodies become fragrant. And as the air carries away that fragrance, it perfumes the entire atmosphere for 80 miles all around. Dasha yojanam. So there's nice fragrance in these places. Okay, one more. Similarly, the fruits of the jambu tree, which are full of pulp and have very small seeds, fall from a great height and break to pieces. Those fruits are the size of elephants. And the juice gliding from them becomes a river named Jambu Nadi. This river falls a distance of 10,000 yojanas from the summit of Merumandara to the southern side of Ilavrita and floods the entire land of Ilavrita with juice. And explanation, we can only imagine how much juice there might be in a fruit that is the size of an elephant, but it has a very tiny seed. Naturally, the juice from the broken jambu fruits forms waterfalls and floods the entire land of Ilavrita. That juice produces an immense quantity of gold, as will be explained in the next verses. Yes. These descriptions of, I think he specifically mentioned rivers or oceans of liquor. It was Thomas Macaulay. He was a British, some sort of political figure in early 19th century England. And I don't know, did he ever go to India? I don't think so. I don't know. And it was he who was laughing and scoffing at these descriptions and saying what a completely useless waste of time it would be to study these things. And this was part of his argument that in the schools in India, the Indian people should be not wasting their time with learning Sanskrit. They should be learning English. They should learn English. And he wrote a kind of article on this, and it was super influential. And as a result, English became sort of the medium for instruction in many schools in India. To the present day, there are many schools that are English medium schools. But he is very notorious amongst the Vaishnavas and others, religious people of India, because he is seen as part of the process of destroying Indian culture, which the British seemed to be so eager to do. Well, that, of course, is another story. Here we have it from Dhira Lalita. Rose apples are full of the antioxidants, vitamin A and C, They can be eaten like an ordinary apple. A tree requires 4 years of growth to start producing fruit. It takes 3 months after the flowering for the apples to be picked. Okay. It's an exotic apple tree. Originates in Southeast Asia. And the apples are oval. Java Apfel. Oh, Martina tells us in Deutsche Sprache. Yeah, this must be it. Java Apfel. Java, I guess you would say in German, huh? Java Apfel. Java Apfel. Which fits with the idea it comes from Southeast Asia because Java is in Southeast Asia.
Genau. Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Java-Apfel. Java-Apfel, genau.
Java Apfel, yeah. And Daityesha is reminding us, science cannot approach mortality of mankind. Since a particular man may not die, and that is going on. Meanwhile, mankind goes on. Okay, I guess you mean since a particular man may die or will die. Okay, not fully getting your point. Vrindapati, you found a map. I guess this means Bhumandala map. There are quite many. If you just go on internet and search Google images, you'll get lots, I think, lots of such images.
I was wondering, Guru Maharaj, if some of these descriptions that we find in scriptures, if they're kind of more allegorical, or because, for example, in Buddhist writings and mandalas that are described of different dimensions, you get a lot of allegorical dimensions, which mean different things.
Yeah, that's, of course, I'm highly tempted to understand that way, especially because these descriptions are there with variations in so-called Hindu and also Buddhist and also Jain traditions. They all have, I think they all speak about Sumeru and these different varshas and so on, but all with different, they have their own take, so to say. And of course, people have studied all of this and made comparisons and so on. I just found one article, which I haven't read yet, but it's, I think, making exactly this point, that it has to be taken allegorically. But just to say, it is allegorical kind of leaves us still wondering what to do with it, what to make of it, so to say. Why all these, one thing I wonder is why all these details, why the numbers like that? What would that, if it's allegorical, what is it allegorical of exactly? An allegory would give an image of something which points to something else for some kind of comprehension. But what that is, I think, is kind of elusive. Yeah. Okay. Well, as I think I mentioned last time, I'm supposed to give some presentation on this topic, something to do with cosmology, cosmography, and the hermeneutics of it all this coming November. So therefore, I thought I should reread all of this and become again somewhat familiar with what's said, and then I may. I think I'm going to draw on some other resources as well to have something hopefully a little intelligent to say. If nothing more, to say, isn't this wonderful? But then I need to say, what do I mean by wonderful? And why does it matter? In what way does it matter? Why is it there in the Srimad Bhagavatam? We might also wonder. I've already made a whole list of questions that I'm asking myself. General questions. Let's see. For example, yeah, one question I want to raise is because they're having a conference about this, and a question could be, why are we looking at this? So my question is the purpose of interpreting this cosmology, is the purpose dialogue with wider culture, including scientific culture or society, or is it better to establish Vaishnava insularity from quote unquote materialist, etc. culture? Insularity, that means being insulated, being covered, being protected. So in one sense, Prabhupada, when he says, we should just take it because Shukadeva Goswami says it's like this, seems to argue for insularity. This is how it is, and take it or leave it, kind of a thing. But the whole idea of having a conference is sort of obviously intended to, not for insularity, but rather for some sort of communication with a wider community, wider world. So the question becomes how to make this meaningful for a wider world who may not take Shukadeva Goswami as, the final word, so to say. And of course, that raises all sorts of general questions about our epistemology, alas. Okay. On that happy note, I think we can stop here for today. And as I said, next week, I'm not sure what my schedule will be, whether we can have a session next Saturday or not, will depend on some factors. But in any case, now that it's the month of June, I wish you all in the Northern Hemisphere wonderful summer days with Krishna in the center. And those of you in the Southern Hemisphere, where it must be rather chilly, rather cold now, I wish you warm days indoors. Not too cold. Don't catch a cold. Right. Thank you all very much. And we will see you all very soon. And keep well and chant and be happy. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Gaur Premanande.
Jai.
Hari
Hari
Bol.
Hari Bol.
Thank you.
Hari Bol, everyone.
Krishna.
Yeah.